I found a hidden room and discovered a heartbreaking secret. I recently moved into a charming old house that had been on the market for years. It was perfect for me. Quiet, quaint, and full of character. The house had a peculiar feature, though. A small locked door in the basement that no one seemed to know much about. One rainy afternoon, I decided to investigate the door. I tried to open it, but it was securely locked, and there was no key in sight. Intrigued, I searched through the house for any clues about the door's purpose. I found nothing. No key, no records, no hints. Over the following weeks, I became obsessed with the door. It was always on my mind. I asked my neighbors about it, but they were all just as clueless as I was. The door was a mystery that gnawed at me. One night, as I was about to go to bed, I heard a faint scratching sound coming from the basement. My curiosity got the best of me, and I went downstairs to investigate. The sound seemed to be coming from behind the locked door. My heart raced as I tried to peer through the small crack, but I couldn't see anything. The scratching continued, growing louder and more urgent. I felt a chill run down my spine. I grabbed a flashlight and a crowbar and went back to the basement. With a deep breath, I pried open the door. Inside, I found a small, dusty room filled with old furniture and forgotten belongings. In the center of the room was a vintage chest covered in cobwebs. I opened the chest, and inside was a collection of old photographs, letters, and a diary. The photographs were black and white, showing scenes from the early 1900s. Happy families, children playing, and a young couple standing together, smiling. The letters were from the 1920s, filled with affectionate notes and mundane details of daily life. The diary belonged to a man named James, who wrote about his life in the house, his joys, and his sorrows. As I read through the diary, I learned that James had lived in the house with his wife, Eliza. They had been deeply in love, but tragedy struck when James went off to war and never returned. James's diary detailed his heartbreak and the years he spent waiting to return home, hoping that Eliza would be there to greet him. The more I read, the more I felt a connection to James. His words were filled with longing and loss, and it was clear how deeply he had cared for Eliza. I decided to preserve the items I found and share James's story with the world. I reached out to local historians and wrote an article about the forgotten door and the man who had left behind a piece of his soul. The house, once just a mystery, now held a cherished piece of history.